The John LeBanc Show has been known to make people laugh, sing, think, scream, throw things in rage, and generally lose their minds. Listener discretion is advised.
Worldwide and out to the greater universe, you're listening to the John LeBanc Show.
Greetings, Earthlings. The banger is hyped up on coffee and zoned out because lack of sleep, so it should be a great show. Welcome, my friends. Thank you for joining me. Got my one coffee here loaded and ready to go, and I've also got a backup. It's been an eventful week for the banger, and, well, last night in particular, I was asked to judge a karaoke contest up in Flint, Michigan. So I was very honored to do so, and I want to thank John, the guy running the whole thing, and Scott Roby from the band Prowess for even recommending me. Got my pass here. We've turned on the banger cam if you're so obliged to watch this feed. You'll see that we're on banger cam 3, right? Right. Yeah, we're on banger cam 3 today. And I got my backstage pass from last night for those of you who are tuned in to the banger cam. It was pretty awesome. There were a lot of great singers. And I had a really good time. And Flint's not all that far away. And the banger did pretty well. He just looked it up on the map before he left, and he got there without any help, no problem. I don't even think I took a wrong turn. Last week's... See, I've had an eventful week because last week I was a host of a press conference for the band Wrecking Crew and their upcoming show. They're a bunch of tribute bands. But I wanted to discuss the karaoke contest because it was really an honor for the banger to be asked to do so. And I'm in this kind of public relations mode this year, so when the opportunity came up, I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And you'd be amazed at how many people are really, really good singers, and they're not in a band or they're just doing this. And, you know, they have some other job in their life. I never thought about doing it as a profession or whatever. But some of the contestants were just amazing. And John, who put on the event, had the full red carpet for all the contestants. They had a nice VIP area where there was a small buffet and water and drinks for everybody. And it was a really nice affair, and I have to give the guy credit. And apparently this is his first time doing it, and for a first time overall, I thought it was a great success. And I hope in the future he'll have us be a bigger part of it, and maybe we'll talk about it and have him on as a guest here coming up when he does these kind of things, because I thought it was fun, and it's a nice change of pace to talk about something like this over everything else in the news. And the basic concept, you know, I should say that judge was kind of a loose term, because what the judges really did is make sure the vote totals were correct. The concept was that the contestants would sing, and their peers, the other contestants, and this was like a tournament of champion. They spent like 9 weeks getting ready for this whole thing. So however they got there, they get to this big tournament of champions, and so they get to vote on their peers. And for the most part, it was most of the girls were being fair to the, I should say most of the contestants, because not all of them were women, and I don't want to, discriminate one sex or the other. You know what I'm saying? most people were being fair for the most part. You know, when you're talking about people judging their competition, there tends to be a lot of low numbers, because I know how competitive, especially if there's like a $2,000 prize at stake. So as a judge, and we're watching things rolling in, you know, you can see somebody who should have got 10 more points, because it was like an overall 100-point scale, 50 for one category, and then there's some others. We as judges could not actually do judging where it affected who went on to the next round, who got points. We were just there to moderate, to make sure the vote totals were correct. But we started seeing these really low numbers for really good singers coming in. The banger caught it. But I brought it up to one of the other judges, and then we told the third judge, I said, hey, look at this, man. And it kept coming in. I said, keep watching this guy's name, because it was one of the male contestants doing this. And numbers that in a 100-point scale, a lot of times the low number would be, 48 to 60 were the low end, and then the good singers got 70 to 80, and the really great singers, the better ones, got, up 90s, and we had a couple hundreds, but for the most part, nobody really dominated. It was pretty across the board. But we kept seeing contestant after contestant come in, and who voted for that, and the ballot would come in, and instead of them getting a mediocre 60 to 70, they'd come in with 15 or 12, or if it was lucky, 20, which would rob them of 30 to 40 or 50 points. And some of these contestants were so good. And we were seeing this, and I brought it up, and there was nothing we could do because it was all within the rules of the game. And we were just hoping this person wouldn't win in the end, because it would be totally unfair. Totally unfair. Because they were robbing people of 30 to 40, upwards of 70 points sometimes. We were amazed when we got the ballot in, and we were like, wait, that was a great singer. That was a great singer. How are they only getting 17 points? And it happened practically for everybody except a couple people. And the people who we thought were not as well, they didn't perform as well as the people who got 12, 15. I know it's all subjective and everybody's a little different, but when the panel of judges were baffled at the scores that were coming in for some by this one person, and then for others who just happened to be, and we'll get to that in a minute, who just happened to be a little closer to the contestant than we thought, or that we knew of. We started realizing that 40 point in the first round, that 40 points, we'll say on average, that was left off by it was strategic. You could tell it was strategic to take out some of the best singers early, because 40 points was going to catapult some of these contestants from not being one of the top 10 finalists to being number 7 or number 5. That's how much 40 points made a difference. So strategically, this person decided, hey, because of a 100-point scale system, you could really damage somebody by keeping everything real low. And we saw, in the first round alone, we saw 3 girls in particular that were just so, at least worthy of being in the second round, not being there, and other people moving ahead that shouldn't have been there because of the 40-point swing. So people who wouldn't have made the second round, we're not even talking about the person who was voting low. There were other people that that benefited from the fact that such a low score went to people who were actually better from one person, that there was no way to make up a 40-point difference no matter how many other people voted, because everybody else, for the most part, voted, fair. There was, they just wanted to have a good time. But this other person, they had an agenda there, and they came very close, because the top 10 moved on. We had 18, then it went to 10. And the same thing happened in the second round. Same name come across, same low vote totals for the best of the girls that were left. And I say girls because the majority of the contestants were women. I think overall there were 4 to 5 men in the whole competition. Most of them were eliminated in the first round. I think there were only 2 left in the second round. In fact, I know there were 2 left. The one guy, he knew he didn't stand a chance, so he just went out and went for the popular song just to get everybody to have a good time, and maybe he could, by performance factor versus talent, gain some votes and hopefully move him on to the third round, because the competition was fairly strong overall. The top 5, and 4 of the top 5 should have been there. But again, because of the one perpetrator who continually gave vote totals under 20 points to all the stronger vocalists. And when you dwindled it down, once people left, they were no longer voting. So now the pool got smaller, so that 40 vote total made a bigger difference, because there wasn't enough other people voting to balance out, or at least to help, correct that a little bit. So I felt bad for some of the contestants, and I went up to them after the fact, and I congratulated them, and I'm like, you should have got this, you should have got that. But the one person I'm talking about, holy smokes, that strategy got him into the top 5. But when they came in for their third song, their choice of song was awful. It was just terrible. And as one of the judges remarked, they were more a theater-based vocalist. They were trained in the theater. And you could tell. In fact, I think the comment was they should go to Las Vegas, which I would agree, because they were very, glammy, glitzy, that kind of singing. It was more Vegas-y, it was showy type thing, versus some of the choices that were made, especially in that third round, really were baffling. And eventually, the one who, and see, this was another thing that I might, in an attempt to give some constructive criticism, the person who won sang Aretha Franklin 3 times, showing no real range of vocal beyond. I mean, Aretha's a great vocalist, don't get me wrong, and the singer was great at doing Aretha Franklin. But I would have liked to seen, as a judge, a more diverse selection of music to see if she really had range. Because the vocalist who came in third place, in my humble opinion, out of the 5 that remained, had not only the best performance in the third round, and yet got a vote total of 19 or something from the one character, which made a bigger difference. Because if that person votes 50, even a mediocre score,